I spent the last 25 years of my career as a copywriter and then creative director in a small agency. I don't think there was a week that went by when I didn't wish for a magic computer that would write my copy for me. And then one day, the machine arrived.
As more time has passed, and the more I have come to understand about what this thing is doing to our industry, the less sure I have become. And I cannot shake the question, should I have been more careful what I wished for? So I went looking for the advice of some of the most influential people in our business. People like Sir Martin Sorrell, David Droga, Susan Credle, David Carson, Rob Reilly, and plenty more besides. People who have spent their whole careers doing creative work, to see whether any of them could get me closer to an answer.
Creativity, it turns out, and we're seeing this through the AI revolution, has never been about the craft. It's actually always been about the thinking. It's the ability to be original, think inventive, be imaginative in ways that it's really hard to do. And not everybody could do that. So creativity is easily, and I don't even think if there's an argument, I'd love for someone to give me that argument of how creativity is not the number one, by far, important attribute of every individual in the future.
I think now it is an interesting combination of where can I use people on the team to come up with great ideas, great innovations, great creativity, and then where can I use agents on the team to scale it, to understand customer signals, to respond to those signals quickly.
I heard this a few times, which is seeing AI as an instrument versus a tool. And when I heard that, it's like, oh, I really understand as a creative person that a tool is very utilitarian. A hammer is the first thing you think of. There's a couple things you can do with a hammer. You can pound through something. You can pull out a nail. But an instrument, a guitar in the hands of maybe myself, who I do not play guitar, makes noise. In the hands of Prince, it makes magic. And to me, that's what AI is for the creative community. It is an incredible, most wonderful instrument. And I think that's the future for me. It always will require brilliant human minds to deliver breakthrough things that have never been done before. So it's the combination of human creativity with an incredible instrument called AI.
We always see AI as a tool that amplifies human creativity rather than replaces it. And so whether you're a creative professional or you're a business professional or a marketing professional, AI should always be in the service of that creativity. And we focused on leveraging technology to produce all the variants of content, allowing the people to really focus on that human, the idea, taste, judgment. Those things continue to be incredibly important.
When Gordon Young met Sir Martin Sorrell, he was arguing for human creativity too, but his reason for it was that everybody is about to get very good at the same time.
With AI, what it does do is it raises the general level of creativity. So we'll get rid of some of the rubbish. But the biggest issue is it levels people up. If everybody's doing personalization at scale, how do I differentiate Coca-Cola's advertising? I think the answer in the short to medium term is human creativity.
I think creativity is being redefined by AI because in an interesting way, AI also does help make it more accessible to people. Everyone becomes a creator. In fact, Adobe's mantra is empowering everyone to create. And if you think about the tools and the solutions Adobe has, whether it's Firefly, whether it's Photoshop, whether it's Creative Cloud, these really put powerful creative tools, AI creative tools, in the hands of everyone to make amazing creative. So I think in that respect, AI has really opened up creativity for everyone.
I told everybody who was working for me and with me, I said, this is incredible. You've got to embrace this. Here it is, use it. And I was really surprised actually by how many people were reticent and afraid to dive in and use it in the way that I was. And I look back on that and I realize what they were afraid of. They were afraid of losing their agency within the creative process. Their part of the creative process was now being done by a machine. And so they were literally, it was existential for them. You know, they were literally afraid for their jobs.
For me, AI is a tool, just like anything that comes along. It's amazing and it's powerful, but I don't want it to overwhelm the creativity of someone's brain. I think it can help. It's a magical thing that, oh, I didn't think of that. But I don't want AI to replace the human brain or a musician or an actor.
And eventually, the team really embraced it, like I imagine most creative teams have. I suddenly started to see things I didn't expect. People started using it in ways that I didn't realize you could use it, and were coming up with totally new solutions to creative production. But the worrying thing was some people actually voluntarily handed their creative agency over to the machine. So it was like if the machine didn't come up with the image that they had in their head, then they'd look for another solution. It was almost like they were parking their brain with the machine purely out of convenience. And I reflected on my own writing, right? The writing was really hard work. Yeah, it was, but it made me who I am. It made me more cultured and dimensional because I had to work so hard at that. And that's what made me start to think, you know, have we let something out of the box here that is going to change us professionally as people? Are we going to lose something? Yeah, that is one of the questions I still haven't resolved, and it's still on my mind.
I think that some people think the way AI is changing how creative gets made is it's fast and cheap and easy. It's fast on a good day. It's cheap because we're just getting started. And it's not easy, which basically says it's not fast in the creative industry. I think you can do very beginner things quickly. Like I just had to do a project where I had to create a film for a small business only using AI. And we got to the first part of it very quickly. Like I was able to go, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. That's the kind of the idea, almost like doing a storyboard, but finessing it to get to excellent. So I think the difference between a good creative idea and a great creative idea sometimes is the passion you put into the craft after you have a great idea.
There's some terrible uses of AI, but at least in advertising, one of the dangers is it's a real excuse to become more efficient. And I'm not against efficiency. I'm all for it. We use science a lot and we use process a lot. I'm very big into process. But what makes creativity special is room for failure, time to experiment, chaos. And that always doesn't, line up with any company trying to be efficient. You can do anything, but will you get to greatness? The old days were you'd go away and concept for a month, and you'd go sell an idea in a month, and then you'd go plan the shoot in a month. But those days are gone. I'm not complaining about those days, but the real danger is that we forget about craft and being highly conceptual, because AI will put a lot of good-looking slop into the world. Good looking, so it's confusing. It's wow, that was great. It's like, was it? Was it a great idea, or just it looked pretty decent because AI can help with the production part?
When everyone has access to the same tools and the best practices, when everything's best practice, then nothing is, and then they'll get back to how do we differentiate ourselves again? You know what I mean? And that's the way things happen. That's how we move forward. We all get to this equal footing, and then calculators didn't made everyone better at math, but it didn't make everyone mathematicians.
I mean, automation changes how we use the tools, meaning historically a designer, if you think of it like face value, they moved pixels. But a designer still has craft in the way how to communicate typography or imagery or composition. So I think every role has a place in its expertise of, you know, what they've either been trained on or what they're valuable with. But I think the activities to which they do are different. So automation is really only changing the activity, not the discipline.
If I get a brief on anything, I give the brief to AI, and whatever it comes up with, I know I shouldn't do. Well, because it means it's the expected, you know, and I think creativity is the unexpected that makes sense once you see it. And AI right now is not capable of doing that. But I think where we're protected or stay safe right now is big brand ideas, big points of view that last over time, and that you feed pieces of creativity into it. And I don't think AI can do the big visionary, what could this be, what could this become?
The argument that I keep hearing is around originality and the higher levels of creativity. This is what the machine can't do. And that is still the preserve of humans. And so the underlying question here is, can the machine develop taste? Can it develop creative judgment?
The one thing that AI can't solve for is taste and judgment, and I think that's in the era of an abundance of content. I think that's where the craft and human creativity will never be more important. So, you know, I like to think about, like, you know, imagination or originality as being the primary ingredient. If you think back over history, originality is that primary ingredient of timeless creations.
Human taste is something that you learn through experience, and it's very individual. So why can't we teach an AI to have a certain set of taste?
It can serve up what it thinks taste is, or it can have a go at thinking about it, but it's not human, is it? And we're complex beings. We've all got different tastes. And we were chatting earlier, you know, you might have Sophie Alice Spexer might be your favourite, Kylie might be mine, you know what I mean? But I'm not going to admit it, and I'm not going to say it online, but I know that. And, you know, AI wouldn't know that, would it? Because it's just scanning what's out there and making an opinion from what it can see.
That is a really good point, actually. AI can only learn from the human experience if the humans are willing to share that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing, but we don't like to share, do we? So, particularly if you're British, you're not putting your whole life online, so how does it actually know what you want?
I think the idea that taste can't be replicated by AI is not reality. AI is absolutely going to replicate taste, right? It's going to do that with agentic AI. So you're going to be able to train an agent on my taste, right? And it'll be able to execute in the ways that I execute. But what it won't be able to do is take a brief and experiment and do something that I've never done before, something that's net new, that's something that feels playful, something that feels like sort of disruptive and imaginative. And I think that's the true value of humanity and creativity.
Have we left the people who are entering the industry now high and dry? Have we removed from them important work that makes them become better professional creatives? And I'm not sure about this, and I'm not sure the industry's clear on it either. Because, you know, on one hand, you know, you think, well, some of that work, the hard work that's a little bit, you know, it's not what people get into the industry to do. They get into industry to do award-winning, fantastic work. But again, that's the preserve of a relatively small cohort of people. So these things are good work, I think, for junior staff coming in, because it helps them get in slowly but surely and start to appreciate what there is there in the industry.
I think it's going to weed out a lot of the middle range graphic designers for sure, because what they're doing is easily replaceable by the new technology and AI. The people that are a little bit above that, well, I hate to say above, but have more what I would call the eye for graphic design, for lack of a better term, those people are, from everything I've seen, are going to be fine. But they're a minority, so it's going to be a thinning out for sure. And if the people that are graphic designers specifically, if you're just a kind of a cog in a gigantic agency's design department somewhere putting out decks or whatever, I think those jobs are going to disappear if they haven't already.
I think there's a big myth around junior talent in AI. And what I mean by that is, I think that junior talent actually has the opportunity and the ability to input into the creative process like they never had before, right? Because as a senior leader in a creative agency, I'm looking to junior talent to educate me around the new technology, around culture. And we live in a bottom-up culture of marketing at the moment, right? We live in a culture now that is no longer top-down. You know, back in my day, right, there was a creative director. He would come in the room, he would tell you what to do, and then you would do it, and then someone else would do it below you, and it would just sort of go down the line, right? Now, I look to my junior talent to tell me what's interesting in social media, right? I look to them and tell me what the latest tools are with AI. So I think this myth that, you know, junior talent is irrelevant and obsolete, I think is an absolute myth. I think junior talent is more important than ever because we need them as senior leaders and as organizations to be on the forefront of learning new tools and understanding culture and weaving that into the work that we do.
If we outsource so much of our work to this machine, then will there be enough people left in the industry to sustain it should we ever wish to turn back the clock?
The real question is, what happens when the pendulum swings back? Because it will swing back. Everything will start looking the same. Everything will sort of regress to a mean, and clients will realize that their AI bot is not marketing any better than their other company's AI bot. At that point, everyone will rush back and they'll say, where are the people? And I just pray that the people are still there and that the companies are still there, because there will be this resurgence, but we have to survive that pendulum swing.
I do not think AI should replace people. I want people to be on the stage. I want musicians to be playing at the theater. Humans are flawed, but interesting. And I'm a little afraid of 2001 Space Odyssey, where HAL does take over and we have no control.
I think I should have a bite of this question now. It's just been sat there. Let's try it out. I tell you what, there's no machine that can taste that. So, until next time, because I don't think we've got to the bottom of this yet, and I don't know whether we ever will, but I really think we have to keep asking these questions. Should we have been more careful what we wished for? Or have we wished into being the most brilliant, fantastic thing to ever happen to advertising in the creative industries? I don't know. And I'm not sure anybody knows yet, but we must keep thinking about it. It's important.